Hey everybody, happy 4th of July to all my friends down south. Guess what? We got a deck tech. So, these are the Firecons, a bunch of dudes that are super fun to play and incredibly easy to build. So, do you like Insecticons? Do you like Dinobots? Do you like cars? Well, it's pretty much the same thing with some minor changes. Let's take a look at how these guys work first. So, the Firecons, Raider Cindersaur, Sergeant Sparkstalker, and Raider Flamefeather all rely on flipping a lot of orange, either in defense mode for Flamefeather or when attacking with these two goofs over here. So with this deck right here, we're going to try to go ahead and use those abilities to the best way we can and build them in synergy of how they would play. So if we look at the characters right away, all of them have unique abilities. Cindersaur lets you go ahead and play an action that's orange when you flip to his alt mode. Sparkstalker lets you go ahead and scrap an enemy armor. And then Flamefeather gives all your characters bold 1. When you look at the other characters on their bot mode, they're also very diverse. Cindersaur and Sparkstalker have abilities that rely on you flipping quite a bit of orange, so you may want to suit these guys up with either an action or an upgrade that will let you get more orange flipped on the battlefield so you can trigger their effects, especially Cindersaur's ability to do 2 damage to a tapped enemy, or Sparkstalker's ability to draw 2 cards to fill your hand up. Flamefeather obviously has a defensive ability, but what's key about him is that a lot of people send Flamefeather in first, and usually he'll go down pretty quick because, you know, like, oh, we'll flip more orange to defend, but sending in Flamefeather in first usually sometimes is a bad idea because I find that if they do that, you're going to lose your character quite quickly. But we're going to talk about how that deck corresponds with the actions and the upgrades we have here. So, let's go ahead and take a look at the actions in the deck. So, right now, we're playing 1 copy of Fully Loaded, or Full Loadout. It is a star card. As you see here, we have a total of 24 stars, and having that 1 left over, we put Full Loaded in because being able to play an upgrade onto your character is incredible when you want to slap down multiple per turn to make sure that you actually trigger the effects and get your characters protected or have that damage dealt out. And next, for actions, we are playing 3 copies of Peace Through Tyranny. The ability to flip multiple orange, and providing that we're playing a lot of bold in this deck, is crucial for Cindersaur and Sparkstalker's abilities as well. So when they are attacking, they want to flip those orange cards so that they can draw cards and do 2 damage. So Peace Through Tyranny will provide that. Also, if one of your characters is getting quite low, you can use the Peace Through Tyranny to KO them to take an additional turn. Now, what's kind of cool about this is that if you're very careful, you can time that perfectly with Raider Cindersaur's ability when flipping back to his orange in alt mode. So, next is 1 copy of Ramming Speed. With the release of the Battle Masters and new weapons coming out, Ramming Speed has become a little bit more relevant, and we're going to be playing those main deck instead of just playing all Bashing Shields, which most of aggro has been doing since Wave 2. We're also playing 3 copies of Rollout. Rollout will let you flip your characters back to their alt mode to get all those nice triggers. Scrapping an armor, playing an additional action, and giving all your characters bold. It's solid. Also, having a blue in the deck isn't too bad. Next, we're playing 3 copies of Scavenge the Battlefield. Your Firecons are going to die. There's no getting around that. Your Firecons have low health, low defense, and compared to the Dinobots, which play very similar here, these guys are much weaker in comparison. Sure, they have abilities that may mimic those characters in an odd way, but your characters are going to die much faster. And having Scavenge the Battlefield on here to play down as a secret action to get one of your upgrades currently on your other characters, when that character is KO'd, it's fantastic and will keep you in the game a bit longer. Next is 3 copies of Supercharge. Supercharge will provide you with bold 3 in order that you can flip the orange cards for your characters Sparkstalker and Cindersaur. Also, we are playing 3 copies of Swindled, because who doesn't like playing 2 upgrades on 1 turn? Next, we're playing 3 copies of Treasure Hunt, so you can go ahead and dig through your deck just like Swindled to get those cards that are necessary, and toss your actions and get all the upgrades that you want. So, these are our actions that we're playing in the deck, and how they correspond are quite important. Looking here, making sure and getting armor off your opponents is going to be a huge thing, because you don't want to have to flip Sparkstalker all the time. You want to be making sure that you're getting, you know, the best flips out of your characters every turn, and having to waste a flip just to knock a piece of armor off when you really want to keep that extra damage up with Cindersaur or keep the ability to draw 2 more cards, it can be quite annoying. So make sure that you're digging and using the upgrades as possibly the best way you can. So looking with the actions that are gone here, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the upgrades. So, our upgrades, we're playing 2 Bastion Shields because we want to make sure we knock off that annoying armor that will cause the Firecons to do their major damage that they will go ahead and put out. If you look at their attack values, they're quite low here, so us flipping orange is incredibly important. When I first built the deck, I tried to build it with static damage, but I found that I was negating the actual cool innate abilities of these characters, and it just didn't feel right to me. So the more bold in this deck is better. And in competitive wise, you want static damage, but I preferably like bold. Now, next we're playing 3 copies of Firecon Flame, which gives all your Firecons bold 1. Getting multiple of these down in one turn is hilarious. Next, we're playing 3 copies of FlameThrower because it is a staple in most bold decks. Some people will say, you know, you could play the brand new one, which has the Pierce in it, the bold 1, but I find this is just better for your money. Next is 3 copies of Force Field to protect your characters when they're in mid-health and early game from those big attacks from Optimus Prime, Battlefield Legend, Nemesis, counter bugs, anything that's coming at you, the Force Field will save you. We're playing 3 copies of Grenade Launcher, which is a static damage buff. This will be great to go on Flame Feather. Also another character to finish off an opponent's character and K them out. It's great. Next is 3 copies of Improvised Shield, and then 3 copies of Power Punch. That's a pretty simple deck tech, right? So how does this actually feel when it plays? You're going to find that the more you play the Firecons, the more you're going to get used to them. And that's when the sideboard comes in when you're facing against other decks. So let's take a look at our sideboard for our characters and go over what we side in. Now, I've been testing the sideboard right now, and so far this is the best that I've found out to use. So when we play this here, we're going to have to go ahead and take out one of our characters. If we can't get enough bold in, we're going to try to be switching to protect ourselves. We're going to go ahead and put in Thrust. So what we'll do is we'll have to take out one of the characters who is not actually doing the work. Depending on who you're facing, Thrust will replace one of these characters and your full loadout will come out of your deck because he is a star difference from there. Also, we're playing 2 ramming speeds for the sideboard because upgrades can be annoying and those can completely halt your deck. We're playing 1 copy of Espionage to make sure we take out the cards that are in someone's hand that could be effectively hurting our deck. Also, if you're playing against a combiner, fishing out one of those Enigmas, it can be great. Enforcement Batons to deal with the new Battle Masters that will be seeing play. Now, in a competitive mindset, you're really only going to see maybe the Black Beam Blaster and Lionizer and sometimes Cog, but you never know what will come to the battlefield when you're playing, people. Next is going to be 3 copies of Heat of Battle. This is here for when you're playing against aggro lists. Aggro doesn't really want to side in a lot of blue, but most games, some people will try to put in a tiny bit of blue, but most of their deck will be orange, and giving all your characters bold 3 is great. And last but not least is one of my favorite cards in this new set, Emergency Defense Field. This is a non-pipped card, and if the upgraded character defends, it would take an even amount of attack damage, instead that the character takes 0 attack damage. When the upgraded character defends and takes no attack damage, scrap this card. I was playing in a game here, and I was facing against Optimus Prime Battlefield Legend, and he swung for 14, and guess what? That was on there. The guy wasn't paying attention. He realized that this came down, took 0 damage, swung him with the next 2 characters, killed him. It was great. So, how does this deck play in corresponds to bugs, dinos, and cars? Well, dinos is a superior deck, and so is bugs. Cars, yes as well. But the difference between here is that Firecons are a new character. When new characters come out, people want to test them and see how they play. So if you want a fun deck to bring to your local event to play against your friends, and also just test it out and see how it goes, this is my preferred build for the Firecons. You can go with other cards such as Energon Slingshot, Erratic Lightning, and Reckless Charge to pump your characters up, but I find that the bold triggers are much better. The reason why we put Thrust into the deck is because we can use Thrust, aside from having a high defense, to pump our characters to give them more attack, like that, to try to finish off those 2-wide teams or those guys that have a bit more higher defense. And plus, with our constant readability to take off armor, it'll be great. So that is my tech for the Firecons. It is, like I said, a very simple, quick, fun deck that you can play with your friends. I really enjoy it. I think it's just a ton of fun just to have on, especially on the 4th of July, to sit down and play some games. Hopefully everyone's having a great holiday, And yeah, that's let me know what you think down below. If you have any suggestions, if anyone's cracked the Firecons a bit better than this, please let me know in the comments down below, because I'd like to see what your thoughts are. Also, don't forget to check out topdecktcg.com if you're looking for cards and singles for the brand new set Siege. You can use promo code MATTERFOR to get 10% off your whole order, and you'll be able to get all the stuff that you need. Now, also, if you come to this video, I did do a prior video about a few days ago about a giveaway for some golden promos and some of the release cards, which are Smashdown. If you want to check that out, I'll put a link down in the description. We're giving it about a week or so. All you have to do is check that video out. There's some instructions for the giveaway, and yeah, that's everything. So, what is everybody's favorite character from the new set? I can't decide, but as much as I want to say, I feel like the new General Megatron is my favorite. This guy's just so good, and there's a deck tech that's coming out with him soon. I also like Shockwave. I also like Ultra Magnus and Cog. They're all cool characters. Yeah. Anyway, that's everything. Have a great day, and thanks for watching. Peace.